platforms. I'm sideways on one. There we go. All right. I'm sideways, all right. Oh, you are out walking this morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Ken. It's dreary, but it's a good day for a walk, right? Absolutely. Every day is a good day for a walk. Thank you for blessing me with your presence. I love it. I love it. I love it. I did get your text message and I will respond. That is no worries whatsoever. We're excited and I'll share more later. All right. Good morning, Miss Laura. Good morning. Good morning. All right. We got my special access in the house here right in front of me on Zoom. And we've got Faith-Led Healing and Faith-Led Living in front of me as well. So it is a rainy day here in North Idaho, and I see in Washington also. But make it good. Make it good. Add some sunshine to your morning. I hope that's what I'm going to do here this morning. I always try. Everybody pause and just take a nice deep breath. Everybody's racing the clock. I know I was this morning to get on here and I was having some difficulties, but I want to talk this morning about the correlation, and you hear me talking about this a lot. Okay, let me see if I can. I just got a message that somebody's having problems getting in. Let me see here. I want to just make sure they get in here because, whoa. Get in the chat while I'm doing this and share with me how you are today, how I can support you, what kind of prayer needs you might have, what kind of praises you have, and anything else you desire to share. And then we will go into this very quickly here. I just want to text message the link. So I don't know about you guys, but I am taking every opportunity I can to get out in the sunshine and to enjoy the sun, because we've had such a dreary, dreary winter. And I just want to encourage you guys to do the same. Do something every day to get movement in and to be able to... Here we go. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, let me get back on here. Sorry. Okay. All right. Okay, good. We got some stuff going on in the chat here. There we go. She's in. All right. Miss Laura says it's snowing here. We are expected to get 4 to 10 inches by tomorrow morning. Yeah, pretty crazy, right? We had 70 degrees on Sunday, which is just so weird for this time of year. Good morning, Miss Vicky. I am glad you got in. Good deal. I was just texting you, so that's awesome. Okay, so today's topic is, what is the correlation between spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical? You guys hear me talking a lot about spiritual and mental, and that is the foundation. Mr. Ken says, never give in or up on getting out. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, it's been really miserable here. We have mud up to our eyeballs, actually our eyebrows. And I mean, it is just so muddy. And when I can't get out because it's really gnarly, or because I have obligations to be online and such, I am finding other ways in a 12-foot by 16-foot space to get in what I need. And that is hanging, stretching, lifting, up and down the stairs. I do that a million times all day anyway. It's amazing that I don't lose like 10 pounds just by going up and down the stairs, but it doesn't seem to regulate this. Vicky's raising her hand, right? But, you know, if you can't get out, you can still do things. But I'll tell you what, being out in that fresh air, regardless what the weather is like, is just so powerful. I went for a 5-mile walk, hike, whatever you want to call it, on Sunday, listening to my schooling while I was going so I could come back and take the quiz Monday. I really wanted to compound all the information in, and had one earbud in, one earbud out, so that I could hear my surroundings and be situationally aware, but also that I could just enjoy, you know, my surroundings. It just feels so good. So when you can, exactly, get out, get out, get out. And just, just breathing in the air. I say that to a lot of my clients, because being out and being in nature is just so, so powerful. And, I have clients that will go out and they will sit in the sunshine and they will come back and say, I didn't feel any different. Well, you know what? You may not, but internally, your body is celebrating. So that is a foundational aspect of things. God gave us our surroundings for a reason. God put things in our surroundings for a reason. There's aromatherapy. There's just so many things that are transpiring while you are out there. Your body is really being activated. But spiritual is our foundation. And you're going to forever hear me talking about that, because we need to be in connection with God, because it's stabilizing. It's foundational. And it is, the more we rest in that place and the more we grow in that place, the more everything else falls into place. But I want to talk also today about spiritual or mental, emotional, and physical, and the correlations to all of that, and why so many are at a place of physical despair. And also to give you ideas on how to get back in balance. And, every session here, you're going to hear me talking about, the spiritual side of things. And before I dive into that, I do want to read this to you, because I want to share the vital importance of experiencing that spiritual transition. And I'm sure there's many, many other examples of this, knowing David, because if you go into Psalms, David's, bless his heart, I mean, he went from deep despair to celebration in just about every chapter in Psalms. And, he had reason. There was lots going on. Some he caused, some he didn't. He was put and placed into a very high place by God. But I want you to realize that so are we. We are disciples of Christ. And for those of you that are really out there, pounding the concrete and being willing to share God's love with other people, we are right there with David. We are impactful, and the enemy is going to try to break us. So we may very well end up in the same positions that David did. But I want to share with you how David always transitioned. And I want to also share the importance of this transition. So I'm going to just read this to you. This is Psalm 77. And we talked about this in Bible study yesterday, but I'm going to look at this at a very different level today, because there's other information here that we can pull out of this. So I cry out to God. Yes, I shout. Oh, that God would listen to me. When I was in deep trouble, I searched for the Lord. All night long I prayed with hands lifted toward heaven, but my soul was not comforted. I think of God and I moan, overwhelmed with longing for his help. You don't let me sleep. I'm too distressed even to pray. I think of the good old days, long since ended, when my nights were filled with joyful song. I searched my soul and pondered the difference now. Has the Lord rejected me forever? Will he never again be kind to me? Is his unfailing love gone forever? Have his promises permanently failed? Has God forgotten to be gracious? Has he slammed the door on his compassion? How many of you are there right now? And I said, this is my fate. The Most High has turned his hand against me. But then I recalled all you have done, O Lord. I remember your wonderful deeds of long ago. They are constantly in my thoughts. I cannot stop thinking about your mighty works. O God, your ways are holy. Is there any God as mighty as you? You are the God of great wonders. You demonstrate your awesome power among the nations. By your strong arm, you redeemed your people, the descendants of Jacob and Joseph. When the Red Sea saw you, O God, its waters looked and trembled. The sea quaked to its very depths. The clouds poured down rain. The thunder rumbled in the sky. Your arrows of lightning flashed. Your thunder roared with the whirlwind. The lightning lit up the world. The earth trembled and shook. Your road led through the sea. Your pathway through the mighty waters. A pathway no one knew was there. You led your people along that road like a flock of sheep, with Moses and Aaron as their shepherds. I love this. I love this at so many levels. And we talked about some in Bible study, but I'm going to completely flip what we talked about yesterday to, and if you want to join my Bible study, it's part of my community. You can join that by going to faithledhealing.com/community. Free Bible study once a month. And you can watch the replay when you join the community so you understand what I was talking about yesterday. But this is really valuable. David knew what he needed to do. David dumped his emotions. He didn't stuff them. He didn't walk away from them. He dumped them. He dumped every ounce of his emotions, his frustration, his angers, his disappointments, his moanings and groanings. And again, you know, some of David's actions created a lot of turmoil. You know, we're all sinners. We're all broken. We're all cracked vessels. God still loves us. God still needs us. We are part of his community, and he has a plan for each of us. We have purpose. All we need to do is sit at his feet and, you know, repent of our sins and join him in this beautiful process, because what David also expressed was the mighty works and the mighty hands of God. So he transitioned from just letting it all hang out. And if you join me for breath work, you hear me say that all the time. When you enter my breath work session, I want you entering however you are. And I want you to get cozy and relaxed. And I want you to put all of your anxieties, your struggles, your worries at the feet of Jesus. And through that process of letting go of all the junk that we're experiencing in life, you know, no shame. We need to let that stuff out. Why? Because if we do not express our struggles, whether that's in silence, you know, in a separate room, bathroom, you know, just letting God know where we're at. It doesn't have to be with people. It doesn't have to be with a counselor. You just need to sit at his feet and just express yourself. Let it out. You know, there are times where people feel like they need to cry and they just stifle it all day long. Let it out. There's a reason. Our tears are toxic, for starters. But let it out. Let it out. You know, when you have these feelings that you need to express, you need to let them out. Because what happens next? Emotional and mental dysfunction. And then, where does it lead from there? Physical. Because so many people, and this is important too, and this is why we talk about this a lot too. You're going to hear me bringing this up in every setting likely, because the enemy gets on our shoulder then when we're in that place, and then he works us over, and we listen because we're in a low place. David does the same thing. This is also a huge testament to the purpose of focusing on our gratitude. You hear me say that all the time. Our gratitude has the ability to shift us from that mental sewage to this beautiful place of a beautiful shift. It's just such a beautiful shift. And I don't know about you guys, but one of the reasons this also resonates with me is twofold. I've made it a point in my life to not forget God's hand in my life and the beautiful things God has done for me. Because when I read about the Israelites walking through the sea and imagining what that had to be like, you know me with nature, you know me being the wild child and wanting to, you know, explore and experience life. Could you imagine that experience? Walking through that wall of water and having a whale the size of a mall next to you, and and a shark and all of just those beautiful sea creatures right next to you, like that you could touch. And they got to the other side, and how shortly they forgot about all of that. How can you forget that? That like makes me facepalm. How could you forget that? And that is so huge. But we do it every day. We forget about the goodness of Papa. And, you know, I don't want to do that. I do not want to forget his graciousness. And, you know, for me, and I know there's others that this is going to apply to, is that he's given me a second chance. And honestly, he's given us all a second chance. So I want you to think about that, because he's saved me twice. He saved me first on the cross as a sinner, and he saved me second from breast implant illness. I'm indebted to him forever. But we've all been saved once. So why don't we view it that way? You know, I didn't view it that way until second time. And that saddens me some, but this is part of my journey. But it's also now part of my story. And I want to share it with you guys, because you have the same opportunities I do. You have the opportunity to have the same perspective I do. And you have the same opportunity to be where I am and live life out of this place. This is freedom, my friends. This is freedom. Freedom from emotional and mental turmoil, from spiritual reckoning. And the beautiful side of that is wonderful physical health, because the more I overcome the others, the more I overcome the physical side of things. I've heard so many times throughout my journey online here for the last 15 years, I wish I had the faith that she does. And there's nothing stopping you. And I share this because I want to grab your hand behind me, because I was there before. I'm nothing special. I was exactly where all of you are. I've been through turmoil. I've put myself through turmoil. I worried about everything. I focused on things that never happened for months on end, and nothing ever materialized. I wasted so many hours of my life. I didn't seek him wholeheartedly. I sought him when I felt like it. I sought him when I needed him. Now I need him all the time. I realize that. But I only sought him when it was crazy and when I was in despair. And like David, you know, he seeks, you will find Psalms where he's praising him the whole time, you know, and that's the purpose, and that's the point of what we have available to us with him, is that we can praise him all the time. You hear me say it all the time. Go ahead and do it, Stanley. Through the good, the bad, and the ugly. Oh, he's got a mouthful, or he would have done the whistle for me. It's so important that we realize what's available to us and not lose sight of that. And I want to remind you to let it all hang out. You know, when you're tired, rest. When you're sad, cry. When you're angry, be angry. You know, when you're sad and a little depressed, be sad and depressed. Just don't stay in any of those places too long. If you're happy, be that way all the time. Be that way all the time. And, you know, I'm told oftentimes that I live through life through pink shady glasses and I have an unrealistic view of the world. No, I don't. I've made a choice. And you can do the same thing. I choose goodness. I choose to see good in people, you know, even through first encounters, you know. I think it's pretty clear when we meet somebody that is dangerous, because God gives us that guide. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been in some of those squirrely situations, and the hair on the back of my neck standing up definitely tells me a whole lot about an individual. But when someone's fumbling on their words, or they're just, you know, I mean, first encounters, I think are hard because a lot of times people are nervous. So, you know, yes, you can judge by a first encounter, but I never leave the first encounter be my basis for somebody, because we all have a story. We're all going through stuff. We can judge these things. Let it all hang out. Don't hold it in. That is one reason why people are physically unwell, is because we don't, and we've been taught, oh, toughen up. Buttercup. You don't need to cry. Oh, so what if you hurt yourself? You'll be fine tomorrow. And yeah, you will. But you know what? Let it all hang out. Experience your emotions. Emotions can be very toxic to the body. So then you've got emotional and mental. The enemy plays a role in that. He is a opportunist. When we have a low day, he's going to try really hard. So I share this all the time. When you wake up, the first thing you need to do is tell him to go in the name of Jesus. He has no place. He has no purpose, just to leave, because he's sitting at the side of your bed waiting to see how you're going to rise. Are you noticing something that's off in your body? Or did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Are you, whatever the case may be, but he's looking for a foot in. Before he even has that opportunity, I tell him to go. And then I ask Papa to fill me up. Fill me up so he has no foothold, especially on days that my body is off kilter. I don't want him on my shoulder. I don't want, and being in tune really is really valuable. Papa's not going to bring you something negative. Papa's going to be speaking lovely things into your ear. The enemy can do that sometimes too. But typically he's bringing ugliness. And I want you to be really in tune. I want you to pay attention to that, because the more we pay attention to that and we disengage from that, and it is possible. I've shared this before, but I was on repeat and repeat, replay and play again for years and years and years. It was at 46 that I finally got pissed off at listening to something rehashing in my head, and I had enough. I wish it would have happened sooner. It didn't. There's probably a reason behind that. It brought me here. It made me stronger. Whatever it did, it also enabled me to share it with you. So whatever age you are, do not think that you cannot overcome what you've had to walk through. And do know there is a course coming. How to overcome what you've had to walk through. There is purpose in that. There's a whole lot of purpose in that. We need to learn how to overcome. There are specific things that we can put in place that will really help us. But the first thing is awareness, and I'm giving that to you today. I've given it to you over and over again. Awareness that the enemy is sitting on our shoulder, or he's in our heads, or he's using other people, loved ones, others, to try to take that life away from us. And I never fault other people when that happens. I just silently demand the enemy to leave them, because they have no purpose in them either. And a lot of people aren't in tune. A lot of people have stories and they live out of that place forever. Some change, some don't. Some go to the grave bitter, lamenting individuals. I don't want to do that. I want to live life to the fullest, and that's why I'm sharing this today. You have power over all of this stuff, and specifically over the enemy. We've already won. Papa's won, but Papa's given us the powers to have already won over him, and we need to remember that. So tell him wholeheartedly and with great conviction, go pound sand. And don't find somebody else, just leave. You have no purpose here. Go back where you came from. And if that doesn't work, tell him to kiss your wind. He has no purpose here. He has no purpose in our lives. The only reason he sticks around is because we let him. He's going to keep trying and trying, because we are powerful vessels for Christ, especially when we are seeking to be that. Absolutely. No surviving, thriving. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're not fighting forward. We're winning forward. Understand that. Our language plays a role in that. We talk about that a lot too. Take your power back, my friends. Take your power back. And pay attention to what you're thinking, how you're thinking. If there's negativity spewing, if you are naturally a negative person, you don't have to be. For whatever reason, that was ingrained in you, but you don't have to be that. And there is something called toxic positivity. I struggle with that terminology, but I also struggle with the some of the other toxic terms they've put out there as well, especially regarding you men. we need to take our power back, and we need to understand that we can be positive. And I believe that the toxic positivity is that we are so positive that we are totally missing the boat and totally putting ourselves sometimes in harm's way because of how we are being positive. But I think that we can be positive, healthily positive, and make major shifts in our lives for the good. So don't jump on board of that terminology. Just understand that we can be positive and healthy. And I want to encourage you guys. You hear me saying it all the time, and maybe some people don't understand what this means, but you can flip the script. The enemy is trying to write a script that we are to be in this negative place, but Papa's already written our story. And part of doing this is also what David did in going from that place of lament. Let it all hang out. Let your emotions go till they're gone. And then start shifting that to the positive, thinking of the good things that do happen in your life. And if you don't have any, make them. Start chasing them. We have a choice to chase negative or positive. We have a choice about everything we do in this life. What shoes we put on, what jeans we wear, how we do our hair. So if that is a choice, why are we neglecting to make these much bigger choices? Because we feel like we aren't able, or we shouldn't, or we don't want to, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe we've just never thought about it. Well, I want you to think about it, because that's how I've gotten where I am. And as I said yesterday, I don't want to be up here. You know, I'm going to use the analogy of climbing the ladder of success, maybe in your business. You know, you work really hard, you get to the top, and there you are with all your accolades, and there you are all by yourself. Because most of the time when people are chasing things in their profession, sometimes they're kicking others to the curb to get there. I've never had that mindset. And I don't want you guys to have that mindset. And I want you to think about this in regard to your life, not business, your life. How many of you would want to get to the top and be all at the top of this beautiful mountain all by yourself? Be pretty lonely, right? How many of you want to see other people thriving? We have the ability to do that. And when we lock arms with people and we turn around where we are on the ladder and we reach down to the person behind us on the other ladder that might be struggling or might need additional help, are you going to turn around and put your hand down there and help them up to the next rung? I will. I want to. I don't want to be at the top by myself, and I don't want to know that I left somebody suffering that I could have helped. And that's what being a disciple is. That's also why my community is out there. And if you don't have the right people surrounding you, it's vital. Because if we don't have the right people speaking life into us when we are in those places of despair, oftentimes we will stay in those places of despair because in that place we don't have enough strength to grab our own bootstraps and get out of there. I've been there already. And I also know how to get out of that place. It's not staying there, and it's not curling up in the corner. It's grabbing your phone with the last bit of energy you have and putting a prayer request in our community and asking people to huddle around you. That's how you get out of that place of despair. If you are listening to this and you are in that place of despair, you don't need to do it alone. Those emotions are healthy, but for some people, you get stuck in that place and you can't get out of that space on your own, and you need the support of other loving people. If you don't have that support, get in our community, faithledhealing.com/community. It's truly vital. You know, we are meant to be in community. We are meant to be to fellowship. Now, my family and I do that in a different arena. It's hard for me to be face-to-face with a lot of people physically, but that doesn't stop me. I get to do this. I get to speak to you from this arena. My husband is pretty much the same way for different reasons. He just doesn't handle big crowds. The mountain boy doesn't handle big crowds. We once did, but it because I guess of how we live, It has become this very overstimulating space. And even before, I think many of us can relate to that. When you're in a huge crowd of people and there's a lot of noise and you're in these settings, it can be overstimulating. But that's why it's important to know who your people are. The other thing is to seek your people. Seek those small, intimate groups of a Bible study or a women's group, or maybe those people that you really resonate with. Reach out to them, connect with them, and form something of your own. Or get in our community if you don't have any of those things. But being surrounded by the right people is so important. Having people speaking life into you, loving on you when you have a bad day, and understanding that you need love, not maybe, because I've experienced this in my life where you're having a bad day and you're not supposed to show emotion. So they tell you to pick yourself up and just, come on, what's wrong with you? Well, I'm having a bad day. It would be a whole lot better if I could get a big hug and an understanding. You don't have to understand where I am. You don't have to understand what I'm going through. Just love on me. And that's what our community does. Because some people just don't have those people in their circle.
Try telling.
Holy moly. The man behind the shade just surfaced. Stop stealthing like that. Oh, my heart's beating really. Here's some real humor for you.
Now,
yes.
What I was going to say, try telling that to the guys that I work with.
Oh.
See how that goes over.
That's why you call me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, try telling a bunch of steel workers and iron workers and welders that you just need to cry. Yeah. See how that works.
That's why you have me. I think you just took years off my life.
You'll be all right.
I'll be. Listen. All right. I gotta regroup. I have tears rolling down my face now because you had me laughing so hard. Wow. You need those moments too to make sure your ticker's working. My ticker's now working really well. Holy moly. Holy moly. That's so funny. Okay. That's a real glimpse into the days in my life and what my... I never know what's going to happen. Okay. Now, Ken says, way to go, Glenn. Okay.
Gotta keep her guessing.
Woo! You just gotta... Woo! I'm like sweating. Both from laughing that hard and jumping out of my seat. Okay. Those are healthy moments. My ticker is now ticking really hard. That's funny. Picture the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain. He's on the other side. Okay, now I want to take this. Yes, he is, always. The mountain man is keeping you on your toes, Miss Vicky says. That's okay. The mountain boy does the same stuff. They just surface. They just show up out of nowhere. I never know what's around the next corner out here. It could be a mountain lion or bear, or it could be my men. Again, a mountain lion or bear. Big bear. I always call the mountain boy a bear. He looks like a big teddy bear, especially when he grows that big beard that you can just grab a hold of. Anyway, okay. Whew, let me regroup here. And yes, that's true. So those of you that are in that setting, hopefully your spouse is the one that talks you off the ledge and lets you be who you're supposed to be. Because you know what? There's really great value in being you. And maybe you are in those settings. And I know there's a lot of, iron workers, welders, pipeline workers out there. Some of you are part of our channel. You have to have that big, tough facade at work. But when you get home, allow yourself to soften and be you. Be real. Be who you are. Because, honestly, I will say this wholeheartedly. To me, it's a very powerful thing when a man lets his emotions surface. Because for one, it's super healthy. And two, it's vital. Because as I just shared, when you stuff that stuff, you're really stuffing sickness into your body. Never gets a chance to surface. So Still off kilter. Okay. The other thing is this. There is reasoning behind deep mental, emotional, and physical imbalance. And it's very easy to happen in our world. And I want you to pay attention and be in tune with this, that if you are letting your emotions surface and you just can't get well and you feel just so unstable all the time, there is a reason for that. And there is a root cause. And there is nothing wrong with you. And it might be genetic. Maybe your parents suffered from the same things. But guess what? They were probably toxified just like you are. So these imbalances that we experience are created in our environment. We have parabens in our shampoos and personal care products. We have aluminum. We have VOCs in our environment, off-gassing in our homes from building materials. Aluminium, as the mountain man just shared. Aluminium. Yeah, now I can't even say it right. You're going to have to start joining me on this. Instead of just disrupting, you should come join me. Then they'd see our real dynamics. You crazy man. All right. So, but the VOCs are off-gassing from our plywoods, from our furniture, from our children's toys. That's sick and that's sad. And that's why 10 and 12-year-olds are experiencing hardening of the arteries and ADHD, depressive and anxiety issues, autism. Why are us adults experiencing Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's disease, high blood pressure, you name it. All of these diseases are stemming from our environment. Bad water, bad air, bad food. I'm missing one, but it's in our environment. So the thing is, if you are stuck in these places and you can't get out of these places, your body's not shifting, you're not getting well. The medical system says, we've run all your labs and they look great, you're fine. Go home, it's all in your head. Or here, let me give you a prescription. Ugh, makes me so mad. Or a jab. Might need a jab. There is a reason behind all of this and you don't need to stay in that place. You need, yes, bad water. Thank you. Thank you. You need to get on my calendar. Get on my calendar for a free consultation because I am working with people and I'm not saying this, I'm saying this tongue in cheek, not to be rude, but hangnail to dis-ease. And in between there, you know, some of these, sometimes they're complex issues that I need to get to the bottom of. But mine was complex. And my man, I'm surprised he hasn't chimed in. I am complex is normally what he will say. Notice we joke a lot. Laughter is good for the soul. Here he comes. I hear him coming.
Oh, they have no idea.
So understand that you are not defined also by your family's history. The only reason that those genes are firing in your body is because of overload of toxicity. And unfortunately, some of us, you know, that is stemming from our childhood. For some of us, it might be stemming from birth because maybe we had our mom had a C-section and we didn't get that burst of all of the immune boosting bacteria through the vaginal canal, or maybe we weren't breastfed, you know, and you know, sometimes that is because of reasons, medical reasons, that the moms had to go through those things or that they couldn't nurse, and that's okay. There's no shame in this, but this is how things can happen, is that we can be born and have issues right off the bat. The other thing is we may have renegade genes. What does that mean? That means that maybe you have a gene mutation from the very beginning. Maybe you have a dirty gene, renegade gene, that isn't mutated, but that it is just It's overtoxified. And what happens, as Vicki and some of the others have learned in my Conquering Histamine and Renegade Genes, is that once one gene gets dirty, the others start to follow suit. Can this be repaired? Yeah, it can. You just need to detoxify.
That's what happens when you work. Your genes get dirty.
You're right. When you work, your genes get dirty. Oh my word, this is so funny. You are seeing Full Dynamics at its best. So you get to see the Mountain Boy and I on our podcast, and now you are getting to see the Mountain Man and I. So I'm telling you, if you can't laugh, you may as well forget it. That is number one lesson. You have to laugh, even at yourself. If you can't laugh at yourself, you guys see me goof up all the time. Do you see me getting mad? No, I laugh at myself because it's hysterical. It's like, oh my word, you can't make this stuff up. So Miss Vicki says, next training, sudden words of wisdom from the Mountain Man, right? Yes, they are spontaneous and continuous. So very funny. So understand that we have control over our bodies, our minds, our spirits, everything. And when we realize that our bodies are out of balance, and our health is going to be that really big indicator, but so is our mental and emotional space. You're feeling out of balance, get on my calendar, because it is so simple to remove this toxicity, to get a handle on this toxicity. And the bigger thing is awareness. And we should probably talk about that upcoming, is the awareness of what's in our environment, how we can lessen those effects on our body, how we can stay healthy. But I'm going to jump off of YouTube here. It's been great having you guys joining me. I'm going to go in with my special access community here for a few more minutes, and then we're going to go into a breathwork session. You can join us on all of these things by going to faithledhealing.com/community, join the special access. And breathwork, you can go to faithledhealing.com/group sessions and join me every week. It is very renewing. That is another thing, is nurturing our nervous system and keeping our pathways open. That's what the breath work does. So it helps to calm us, keep us moving forward, helps us to detoxify well, and just really nicely complements detoxing as well. So I will see you guys next week. Have an awesome rest of your day. God bless you all, and put on your pink shady glasses and start having a good time. Kick the enemy to the curb. Love you guys. God bless.